Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully all of you are doing well out there. I'm, of course, your host, World Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Tier 7 Russian Premium Medium Tank, the T-44-85, that has just come into the stores today. Now, it didn't necessarily come into the stores on its own. It's kind of weird how they brought it into the game. I wish they would have just sold it for like $20, $30, but pretty much what they did is, as you can see, you got like the Chieftain Mark 6 lockbox, and if you were to read the fine print, a lot of people didn't even notice this, but in the fine print on the Mark 6 lockboxes, you can read parts of certificates, and you can get the T-44-85 certificates with a 12% drop chance inside the Chieftain Mark 6 lockboxes. So I definitely feel that it's actually not a terrible deal to get the lockboxes in general. You have a 12% chance to get the 44-85, then 9.7 for the Type 59, 6.6% for the AMX-30, and then a 5% for the Chieftain Mark 6. If you were to add up about all those percentages, you get somewhere around a 30% drop chance for all those vehicles added together, which, to be fair, isn't terrible. That means 30% of the time you are going to be getting certificates, which means that, yeah, if you spent about 20 bucks, I'd say you could easily get your hands on a T-44-85. In fact, I spent about $25 on crates, and they weren't like the bundles of keys. I spent literally, I think I spent $25 worth of the $4.99. As you can see, I bought 4 of them, and I was able to get my hands on the Chieftain Marks, not the Chieftain Mark 6, the T-44-85. I already have the Mark 6. So definitely, I don't think that those lockboxes are actually terrible. If you wanted to spend $50 and, you maybe had the gold lying around, or I guess it's not gold, but if you had the money and you did want to maybe get the Mark 6 or something else like that, I would definitely suggest to maybe think about it. Not 100%, of course, but, you might get, honestly, I've opened up, I would say about, we'll say about $30, $40 worth of the keys, just to see what you get out of them for a general consensus for you guys. You can see I got 90 certificates for the Type 59, I got 80 for the AMX-1R, and I've already gotten 2 T-44-85. So honestly, they're not terrible. You could easily get your money's worth back in the tanks that you're getting. So I do like that Wargaming is making it so that it's very easy to get the certificates, especially for the brand new Tier 7 medium. So of course, let's get into a game here, see if we can do a good one. Now, the good things about this vehicle are the DPM. It's kind of like, I compare this to a T-34-85 Rudy, where it's got an extremely similar gun. As it says in the title, it carries an 85mm. It's built on a T-44 chassis, but it doesn't really have armor, of course. While it sounds great having a Tier 8 hull on a Tier 7 medium, the hull armor isn't the best. You will occasionally bounce, a Tier 6 shell every now and then, but it really doesn't bounce a lot of shells. It's not necessarily the best, especially the turret armor only being about 160mm thick. Yeah, you're really not expecting to bounce a lot of shells. The great thing about this vehicle is, first of all, the power to weight ratio. With the top speed of 51, you can see I'm at 51. Like, this thing is fantastic at getting to its top speed and staying there. Something I really, really like about the vehicle. Not only that, but the gun is through the roof. It's got a 4.6 second reload for 200 average damage, which of course gives it a bonkers amount of damage per minute, around 2,600, which of course, when you've got a decent amount of damage per shot and all the other factors going in, the nice mobility, it really does have a lot of things going for it. Now as well, it's got a fantastic amount of damage per shot, at least for the HE. I was going to try and say, I tried to pen the HE there, and in fact, we're going to try again. No, I actually thought that one would pen. Sadly, it did not, but, well, that's fine, because we can just shoot a standard shell into him. Doesn't look like it's going to hurt us too much, and, well, now there goes the Comet already. So you can see where the good DPM comes into play. Now, it does struggle, I can say, with the aiming time. Definitely not necessarily the best, but it still gets out the shells, and in fact, okay, no clue what this guy's doing, but let's aim in on the lower part of his vehicle. I thought the HE would pen, but you know what? We got another shot. Let's go for the HE on the turret. There you go. That is the HE for the T-44-85. It gets massive chunks of damage out if you manage to pen the HE shells. Like, that is taking off big chunks of that guy's HP. And while I am getting tapped by this AT-8, I'm definitely going to try and get out of here, of course, because I don't want to be hit by a extremely deadly tank. So let's get out of there. Sadly, that shell did not hit, but yeah, I've lost, I would say, about half my health there from that AT and as well other vehicles shooting me. I did not think the AT-8 was going to push there, but as many of you know, the AT-8 now has one of the strongest guns as well at Tier 6, honestly. It's got a, I think it's like a 20-pounder. I think it is the 17-pounder on it, but a really, really good gun for what it is. So let's aim it at the side of this AT. There's one penetration already into him. Let's even put on our adrenaline here. We might be able to get a second shell out. There you go. There's the second shell, and once again, you can start to see how crazy the DPM is on this vehicle. We've already pulled out 2,500 damage, and there you go, finishing off the AT-8. While he was quite a big threat to us, once you start pouring out the DPM in this vehicle, you can see that it just doesn't stop. Like, vehicles that aren't looking at you. I've already done 3,000 damage this game, which is crazy when you do think about it, of course. Now, sadly, we hit that guy's gun, which isn't, you know, not necessarily what I did want to do, but finishing him off with the second shell there. Nice ol' 4 hit points. Gotta love that, right? But let's aim it on the Black Prince. You can see that the gun is pretty dang accurate as well. Doesn't really miss its shots. Again, nice tap into you, and that nice side armor actually getting, or actually, I guess not the side armor. He tracked me, so I'm not really sure where he hit me because... yeah, I guess he just really got a weird angle on my hull and it did not want to penetrate. The Russian hulls, as we know, are very, very hard to penetrate. So we got the WZ still sitting back there. Let's get another nice penetration right through his vehicle. We got the ARL off to the side. We can aim it on him. I would love to be able to pen him, but at the same time, you probably got, yeah, the Tiger aiming at me. Didn't want to be hit by the Tiger. Now, I will say one thing that I've really been liking on this vehicle is actually the shell velocity is really, really nice. Now, I'm going to be penned here. I kind of, well, I guess we're not actually. That was very surprising that we weren't. But, well, let's go for one more tap. Come on, bounce my upper plate. No, that's not what I want. Okay, well, let's just back up here. There's not much I can really do to him anymore. But, well, you know what? Why not just rush him, right? We got the DPM. I believe in the power of the T-44-85. It's got the power. Kaboom! There you go. Look at that. So that was a great game for this vehicle to show the strengths and the weaknesses. Against Tier 7s, it does a great job. That was 4,227 damage and pulled out a mastery for the first game. Now, there is something I want to say, which is you got to keep in mind that it's not always going to be like this. I've played a lot of games in the tank, and I've had a lot of good ones, but as well, if I pull up some of the games here, you'll see that not all of them were the most damage, like 1,000 damage in this one, 2,800. So you can see it kind of fluctuates at, I would say, about 2,000 to 3,000, you know, if you're a really solid player. But it's not a bad tank, and it's super fun to run. This is one of my favorites, I would say one of my favorite Tier 7s in the game now, because how mobile it is. As I said, it's got that fantastic power to weight. It's got a power to weight of 21.0, which is one of the best at Tier 7. It's got a fantastic power to weight, added in with the top speed of 52 forwards and 20 in reverse. The hull traverse is great. The engine power of 715. It's really just a powerhouse of a vehicle. And when you combine all these values, plus good damage per minute, it's really such a fun vehicle. And as well, you'll notice the gun is very accurate for what it is. Now, there is one issue, which is the same issue that I had with the Rudy. Now, there's actually 2 issues, I guess, with the Rudy. This one hasn't got the best gun depression. It's only 6 degrees, but that's not really the killer. You saw there in that game that the gun depression didn't really affect me too much. The real killer of this tank is the penetration. The standard, I think, sits at around 140, which, you know, isn't terrible. And in a Tier 7 game, you know, you can easily get through all Tier 6 armor profiles, apart from maybe like the M6 with your standard, and then you load the premium, you'll easily cut through that. However, the issue with this tank is that it carries, as it says in the title, an 85mm gun. And in fact, the same 85mm gun on the Tier 6 T-44-85. Now, the issue is penetration. It is 210 millimeters on the premium. That's bad. That means that you literally can't penetrate through an IS-5's lower plate or the upper plate. And the same for an IS-3, and the same for an E-75 TS, and most Tier 8 heavies, like a Tiger II, which, of course, is a bit of an issue, because you want to try and penetrate enemy vehicles you're going up against. So, it does struggle, and, you know, that's a big struggle. You really want to be able to penetrate your opponents, and the fact that this thing can't in certain scenarios is not necessarily the greatest thing. Now, no clue what my LTTV is doing. Looks like he is just seppukuing, but, yeah, we'll see about that. We've got the FE-201 pushing off to the side of my team, it looks like, and as well the Annihilator. But if I can get the rear of this FE-201, oh, you can bet it's going to be a farming fest and a half. So let's aim in on him. Come on, where is he? Oh, doesn't look like we're getting it out just yet. We've also got the Annihilator off to the side, and actually I'm going to back up from that. Annihilators are deadly, as we know, and I don't want to really play with a super deadly tank. So let's back up here. We got the Annihilator. Hello. Do you like big shells? Actually, we are not distracting him too well, which means we can get nice shell into him once at least. And, well, how is our LTTB alive? What? Okay, that's crazy. I don't know how he's alive and if he meant to do that on purpose, but he is alive, so I will give him credit. Now, we got the FE-201 right off to the side here, who looks to be not necessarily the best player, judging that, well, he's not looking at me after I've shot him, what, 3 times now? So that's a big chunk of HP we've already managed to take off of him. And we're going to keep going here to see if we can keep penetrating our shells. So there's another big old chunk into his tank. Let's go for the track wheel if we can. Oh, that's not what I want. I'm going to try and get to the side of him, maybe, of course, because, well, yeah, if I can get to the side, it's going to give me a major advantage. Wiggle that hull to the best of my abilities. But, well, he's really chunking our HP off. off quite easily. He might not be the best of players, but, well, the FV is got a lot of good things going for it. One of them is the gun. It's fantastic. So let's finish this guy off. There you go. Nice shots going into him. We got the M6 as well over here, who I got to be a little bit careful from. You know, it could be quite deadly, but at the same time, if I play it correctly, I should be able to do decently. We got the VK as well. Nice tap into him. Let's back up quickly. Back up, back up, back up. And now we have got the reload on him. We've got the Annihilator in mid. And we're doing a pretty solid job, to be fair. We're holding. You know, we've got the damage to at least, you know, take this guy apart. Now, I don't want to be rammed by him, but at the same time, I'm trying to get out the most damage I can. But we were taken out. So you can see that it's not necessarily the strongest vehicle. It's good, and I definitely tried my best against a vehicle like the FV201, or is it the 301? It is the 201. I always think it's the 301 for some reason, but you can see we're still looking like we're going to win this game quite easily. But as I said, I literally couldn't pen that M6 until I loaded the premium, like anywhere. And that is definitely a big issue, you know? It's hard to penetrate, especially tier 8 opponents. So it's good. I really do like it, and it's fun, but don't expect it to be overpowered. That's one thing you got to keep in mind is it's not overpowered at all. It's a very well-balanced tank. As you saw, I went up against that FE201. He ripped me apart. Even though I had shot him 4 times before he was able to lay a shell on me, he still was able to use his crazy DPM and rip me to pieces. So it's a fun tank. It's great, and I really love it. And in fact, before I go off, I've got one key, I'm pretty sure. So let's open up one lockbox. Here we go, and certificates for the T-44-85. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. As I said, it's not a bad tank, and if you wanted to try and get it, you could probably get it for about 20 bucks worth of the keys. 10 crates, you'd easily be able to get your hands on this. So if you wanted it, you could easily get it for $20. So if you are a collector, I would suggest to pick up those crates. And they're not really gambling, as I said, because it's a very high drop chance to get these certificates for this vehicle. As you just saw, I just got them. And in fact, I opened up a couple before this as well. You can see that for most of them I opened, I got 40 pieces for the 44-85, another 40. So really, it's quite easy to get the certificates for this vehicle. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, to be seeing you around in the next one.